Chapter
NK
1,
Books.
The Lucky Ones.
The greatest wilderness survival show has reached its final moment. Tonight at 8, 100 lucky people will be drawn, and they will join the program Wilderness Survival 365 Days, sponsored by Academicianly Company. Surviving in the wild for 365 days is both daring and dangerous. Over 30 million people have signed up, breaking the world record, and we will cover the whole journey live. Next, please stay tuned. So Phong stared blankly at the television. Before him was a 14-inch screen, an old model he had bought online. What stunned him was the news itself: Wilderness Survival for 365 Days. He had never heard of such a program. What is happening here? Wasn't I supposed to attend a job interview today? Why am I back home? Everything felt strange to him. Then he noticed the clock in the corner of the TV and froze completely. He hurriedly grabbed his phone, unlocked it, and exclaimed, "How is this possible? September 20th, 2018? Isn't today supposed to be September 27th? Yes, I remember now." He suddenly pressed his temples, recalling that he had fainted from the heat while going to an interview. Have I been reborn? Just like in a novel? Have I really been reborn? So Phong could hardly believe it. He had returned 7 days earlier. But one thing troubled him most: this wilderness survival program of 365 days, he had never heard of it before. Could this be a parallel world? It is now 6:35 in the evening. I recall that Van Han should be buying a tilapia at about 6:37. He stared at the gate, glancing at the clock on his phone. Clop clop clop. At 6:36, footsteps came from the gate, followed by voices. Van Han, you have owed 2 months of rent. By the end of this month you must pay all 3 months. No more delays, I only help look after the house, do not make things hard for me. A middle-aged woman's stern voice echoed. Van Han's timid voice followed, All right, Aunt Hua, I will transfer the rent to you tonight. Fine then, I will remind another family. Aunt Hua's tone softened greatly. So Feng's face darkened, his lips pressed tight. That exact conversation was carved in his memory. Click. The key turned, the door opened. A petite and lovely girl entered, about 1.56 meters tall, her pale yet delicate face lit up with a bright smile. So Phong, I am back. Van Han lifted a plastic bag in her hand, smiling radiantly. Look, I bought fish, tonight we will eat braised fish. So Phong, what is wrong with you? She knew he had overheard the talk at the gate. She moved closer, gently linking her arm with his, whispering, Did the interview fail again today? I am sorry. So Phong rubbed her head. The interview had indeed failed. In truth, he remembered clearly that in the next 7 days every interview would fail. No company would hire a boy who had just graduated from high school. Do not say sorry. You did nothing wrong. It is I who have been dragging you down. Van Han's voice rose, her beautiful brows knitted, her small lips pouting in anger. Both of them were orphans, having grown up together in the orphanage, their bond unbreakable. This year the orphanage had to move. So Phong was no longer of age to stay, so they rented a small place outside. With his earnings from part-time jobs and Van Han's scholarship, they rented a room in Xinzhong village. Van Han lived in the middle room, while So Phong stayed in the living room. Enough, let us not speak of this. Let me help. Van Han chuckled, as if she had not been angry a moment ago. In the small kitchen by the balcony, they prepared dinner together warmly. While blowing fish scales away, So Phong casually asked, Van Han, the news just mentioned a program called Wilderness Survival 365 Days. Have you heard of it? Yes, I have, I even signed up. Van Han looked at him strangely. Did we not agree that if we were chosen, we would join together? Hearing this, So Phong froze, his black eyes tightening. Now he was certain, he had been reborn into a parallel world, slightly different from his past life. His memory was not failing. That wilderness survival program of 365 days had never existed before. Do not hold too much hope. Out of 30 million people, us being chosen? That is too unlikely. Chapter 2, A Shocking Reward. For someone who once struggled over 10 coins, receiving 100 million was something that only appeared in dreams. 100 million? Such a high reward? So Phong asked in surprise. Humph, I knew you did not pay attention. Van Han rolled her eyes, brushed away the fish scales and blood from his face, and said clearly. Elderly Ko even added a reward. If you win first place, you will not only get 100 million, but also land worth 80 million. Where is the land? How long is the term? So Phong asked curiously. Van Han looked at him strangely. This was common knowledge. Forever. So Phong was shocked, opened his mouth, then closed it again, deciding to research it later. So Phong, are you really not going to university? After a moment, Van Han asked softly. We could borrow some from the dean, then you could pay the tuition. I will first try to find a summer job. So Phong whispered. His heart eased. He decided not to become an apprentice in a company, but to work in a factory to earn living expenses, and think further later. Anyway, he could not rely on Van Han's scholarship and housing allowance. That is fine. Van Han breathed lightly, relieved that he would not keep struggling over work. If so, she would consider working in the school cafeteria, where meals were included, and help lessen his burden. That evening's dinner was braised tilapia, stir-fried cabbage, and a big pot of rice. NK books. So Phong, eat the fish. Van Han pursed her lips and pointed at the dish. Do not hold back. The weather is hot, without a fridge the fish will spoil tomorrow. Eat it now. You eat so little? Her black eyes were full of doubt. I already had 2 bowls. So Phong rolled his eyes and pushed the fish over. Then I will finish it. Van Han licked her lips and bent down to eat quickly. At night, eating 80% full is enough. 5 bowls and 80% full? Are you sure? So Phong sighed helplessly. He knew she was a big eater. 5 bowls for her was only half full. If there was more rice, she would eat at least 10 bowls. Usually she endured hunger, her pale face carrying a faint beauty of frailty. Tomorrow I will buy more rice and cook some noodles. So Phong stood and went to the kitchen. No need, I am already full. Her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. All right, do not save too much. So Phong said firmly. Save anything, but the stomach must be filled. Those were the words of the orphanage dean, the sentence he had heard most since childhood. Knowing her character, he stopped her from helping. Just sit, I will cook a bit more. He knew she would rather starve than spend more, once even fainting from hunger. Suddenly he thought, maybe joining Wilderness Survival 365 days would not be bad. At least in nature there was free food, enough for her to eat. 3 bowls are enough, eating 80% at night is good. Van Han smiled sweetly. Got it. So Phong replied with a bitter smile. When he brought the bowl of water, he saw Van Han watching television, which was broadcasting Wilderness Survival 365 days live. Looking at the clock, he realized it was almost 8 in the evening, the time for the lucky draw. So Phong, come quickly. Van Han hurriedly took the bowl of water, glaring at him for not using a small cup. All right. As soon as he sat down, a mechanical voice sounded in his mind, startling him. Ding. Sign-in system loading, 10%, 30%, 70%. Ding. Sign-in system fully loaded. Ding. Giving a large novice gift pack. Ding. The system can answer 3 questions, then dismantles the answering function. He had even reincarnated, and had read many hack-like novels, so he immediately realized this was a cheat system. Ding. Question 1, database does not contain an answer. His eye twitched, he quickly asked. What functions do you have? Ding. Question 2, this is a sign-in system. Each day you must sign in. 7 days gives a beginner pack, 1 month gives an intermediate pack, 10 years gives a god level pack, 100 years gives a super god pack, 1000 years gives a supreme pack. No way? 10 years, 100 years, 1000 years? What could be inside that needs such long time? So Phong asked in wonder. Ding. Question 3, data missing, cannot answer, cannot answer. What do you mean? Let me ask again. So Phong frowned. Was this system broken? Ding. Auxiliary function dismantled, wish the host a happy life. So Phong was speechless. Out of 3 questions, only 1 was answered. But he quickly set it aside, since 10, 100, or 1000 years were all too far away. Chapter 3, A Fateful Chance. Van Han held chopsticks in one hand and tugged at So Phong's sleeve with the other, excitedly asking, Do you think we might be drawn? So Phong snapped back from the system and focused on the TV, where 4 people appeared, 2 men and 2 women. The male host was Ha Min, a famous presenter always invited to big shows. So Phong listened as he introduced 2 female stars who were just there for numbers, so he paid no attention. Ha Min then solemnly introduced the key guest, the sponsor, Elderly Company. Li Ko was an old man with white hair, wrinkles like tree bark, wearing rimless glasses. Many people may not know Elderly Ko, so today I proudly introduce him, from the Imperial Academy of Sciences, with great contributions, Academician Li Company. Clap clap clap. Applause thundered. Ha Min raised his voice with admiration. Elderly Ko, now 82 years old, is an academician. He once joined satellite and aerospace design. Now retired, childless, and orphaned since young, from a small mountain village. He was nurtured by the nation, his life truly legendary. He dedicated his life to the country's revival. That land was awarded by the state, along with some patents. He donated patent money to many orphanages. The introduction lasted thousands of words. Van Han nodded in agreement, slurping noodles. Wilderness Survival 365 Days. This program will use the newest monitoring technology, each team with 3 supersonic drones with aerial cameras and tents. Ha Min displayed a thumb-sized drone, which flew up when released. The TV screen shifted to aerial footage, clear and vivid. Of course, private privacy will not be recorded. Ha Min added. The survival site also has many cameras. His face turned serious. Each chosen team will get no help, survival relies only on yourselves. He then declared rules. Each team of 2 joins the wilderness survival for 365 days, each person may bring only 3 tools, nothing else. Anyone cheating is eliminated immediately. Filming 1 full year outdoors. If you wish to leave, just press the satellite phone and someone will take you away. That is too harsh? Van Han was stunned, hesitating. Only 3 tools, how can one survive outdoors for a year? No, 6 tools. So Phong smiled. He said each person, so 2 in 1 team, as long as items are not duplicated, 6 tools are allowed. 3 versus 6 tools is a huge gap, a trap in words,
NK
also
books.
testing wit. In fact, So Phong felt it would not be so simple, the reward too grand, surely hidden rules exist. On TV, Ha Min continued, if no challengers last 1 year, then another draw is held, choosing new sites, until someone completes a year to receive the great prize. So, 1 year is a strict rule. So Phong pondered, is it easy or hard for 2 people to live outdoors for a year? Next, 100 lucky viewer teams will be drawn. Success earns 100 million yuan and land valued at 80 million yuan 30 years ago. Ha Min's voice surged. This is a chance to change a lifetime. Courage, wisdom, luck, none can be lacking. If anyone chosen does not want to join, they may call the number below the screen to cancel. We will draw until 100 full teams are set. Ha Min explained further. Ding ding, dong bang. The drawing sound played. Soon the wheel stopped, 200 names crowded the board, unreadable. Congratulations, these are the 100 teams chosen, if unwilling please call. The list appeared, flipping every 3 seconds. So Phong, quick, check, is our name there? Van Haan's eyes widened, staring at the TV list. How could it be? Over 30 million joined. So Phong chuckled, since registration was 2 per team, equal to 60 million joining the program Wilderness Survival 365 days. Just look. She pouted, slapping him, annoyed, maybe we got picked. Ah. Van Haan's eyes bulged, screaming, we are picked, we are picked. Ha ha ha, really picked. She jumped up, cheeks flushed pink, shouting, I told you, my luck is always great. Indeed. So Phong shook his head helplessly, this luck was unmatched, they truly got chosen. Chapter 4, The Newbie's Big Gift Pack. Now let's talk about the rewards. Hamin was very skilled at stirring the atmosphere, or perhaps he himself was shocked by the rewards. First place prize is 100 million yuan, plus a land that 30 years ago was worth 80 million yuan, with permanent usage rights. Second place is 30 million yuan. Third place is 10 million yuan. In addition, surviving in the wild for 1 month grants 100,000 yuan participation bonus. These are the rewards for surviving 365 days in the wild, a life opportunity now in your hands. But please, measure your strength, life is the most important. You will survive in the wild for a full year, with no help unless you are eliminated. On the TV, Hamin spoke endlessly, his persuasive tone made So Phong embarrassed. So Phong, do we want to join? Van Haan asked excitedly, immediately facing reality. Joining meant surviving 1 month, at least they could get 100,000 yuan. With luck, they might even win millions. This deeply tempted poor Van Haan, after all, it was something worth striving for. Not joining meant they stayed poor, with next month's rent unaffordable. Her scholarship funds were nearly gone. What do you think? So Phong frowned, he too wanted to join, after all he had nothing left, just a poor man. As Hamin said, this was an opportunity, and it was right before him. We can try, even 1 month is fine. A flash of wit shone in Van Haan's eyes, 100,000 a month could let her eat well for months. So it is. So Phong was not so optimistic, for the wild survival location surely would not be easy, the reward was too astonishing. That land, worth 80 million 30 years ago, now was surely worth over 2 billion. Van Haan quietly watched So Phong lost in thought, she did not disturb him, only looked back at the TV. So Phong was truly considering, with his current ability, honestly, he doubted they could last 1 month. But he had a hack. In his mind he whispered, open the newbie's big gift pack. Ding! A package of basic wild camping knowledge. Ding! A basic physical enhancement potion. What could he say? This gift pack was clearly meant to push him into survival. Accept wild camping knowledge and insect repellent formula. He commanded mentally. At once, knowledge surged into his brain, with vivid images making his head ache. He clenched his teeth, enduring the pain like being struck on the head. 5 minutes later, the pain subsided, replaced by clarity and relief. Tomorrow, gather at the West Asia City Sports Center, depart the next morning. Travel expenses will be covered, absence means withdrawal. Surviving in the wild for 365 days will be streamed live on Douyu, the entire journey non-stop. This is today's announcement, see you tomorrow. So Phong, do we go? Van Haan turned off the TV, picked up the cold noodles, and reminded, by midnight tonight we must confirm, otherwise we are considered challengers. Join. So Phong grinned, the survival knowledge gave him confidence, we will join this wild survival 365 days, we will win the prize. Good, we join. Seeing his confident smile, Van Haan blushed, quickly bowing to eat her noodles. After a while, she asked, so what do we do now? How much money do you have? So Phong checked his bank balance, 123 yuan and 80 cents. I still have 4,400. Van Han handed her phone. This is before deducting rent. 3 months' rent is 3,000, utilities about 600, so we have about 2,000 left. So Phong calculated, realizing their poverty. Those 2,000 were all they had, once gone they would starve. He thought further, eyes brightening, wait, there's also 1,000 deposit to reclaim. Ah! Van Han recalled Aunt Hua kindly took 1,000 deposit. She asked doubtfully, are we going to return the room? Yes, we will live in the wild for 1 year, no need to keep it. He also remembered each person could bring 3 tools, so preparing early was wise. Chapter 5, 2 Poor Souls. Cough cough cough. So Phong awkwardly cleared his throat and said, no need to sell the phones, the TV is not worth much either, go shower and rest, we can buy tools in West Asia City. Their phones were cheap models, selling them would only bring a couple hundred yuan, so better keep them as memories. All right. Van Han smiled, her eyes sparkling. She carried the bowl to the kitchen, washed the dishes, then went to shower. Who? So Phong sighed softly, lying on the sofa, he summoned the body-strengthening potion in his mind, soon warmth spread through his body, making him feel heavy. A moment later, information appeared in his head, it was the potion's description. The basic body-strengthening potion, within 1 month, slowly and safely, doubles the body strength. So Phong muttered, if the basic doubles, then what about intermediate and advanced? He felt some expectation, and since it took a month to complete, it was best, not easily noticed, especially by the sensitive Van Han. I feel much stronger. He clenched his fist, sensing the change. He lifted his shirt, the once flat belly now faintly showed 4 abs, surely after a month he would have 4 solid ones. Van Han stepped out with wet hair, wiping it while urging, go shower quickly, I will wash the clothes, tomorrow will be easier. Okay. So Phong stood up to shower, glancing at the shelf, the action already habitual. After half a year living together, at first he felt awkward, later he even helped wash her clothes, now he felt calm. A boy's bath was focused on key spots, the rest washed casually, he stepped out with wet hair. So Phong, what should we bring? Van Han peeked out and asked, should we bring shampoo? No, just clothes. He dried his hair, thinking survival in the wild was no trip, each person only allowed 3 tools. Haze. He shrugged, they were poor. Luckily both were optimistic, not comparing with others, not jealous. Soon Van Han finished packing, a small bag was enough, she also added his clothes. Holding the phone, she asked, should we book tickets online? I already did, 10 in the morning tomorrow. He lay on the sofa, scrolling microblogging, seeing Wild Survival 365 days trending. MHM. She nodded, went to wash clothes. Indeed. He read the rules, his fingers sliding to comments. This is turning them into savages. I am so jealous, I love outdoor survival, why not me? I swear 100 million times. The guy above is dumb, think surviving 1 year is easy? Beware of snakes, mosquitoes draining you, wolves, tigers killing you. True, bold words. Tomorrow night on Douyu Live, just watch. He grew bored, mostly arguments and jealousy. Creak. Van Han carried clothes to the balcony. Right. He suddenly asked, if you join the show, what about your studies? I already self-studied all high school courses, now studying first-year university courses. She softly said. He was stunned, almost forgot she was a genius, yearly scholarships all hers. He paused and said, if so, you may miss next year's high school exam. Eh? She froze, dripping hand, surprised, you aim for top 3? Yes. He seriously said, must aim for first place. I see. She said casually, if I can get first, why attend university? Won't you raise me? Ha ha. He laughed, lying back, teasing, not to fatten you up. I was born not gaining weight. She rolled her eyes angrily. She ate little, how to get fat? Go sleep, we must wake early. he said, opening browser, checking this parallel world.
Do not stay up. She yawned, went to room. He kept eyes on the phone.
He discovered this parallel world, the Yanhua nation, Earth's size doubled, population doubled too. Most importantly, less than 10 people had eternal land ownership, proving how powerful Mr. Li Ko was, and how exaggerated the first prize reward was.
Chapter 6, Childhood Sweethearts.
That morning, So Phong and Van Han packed their belongings. Under Aunt Hua's doubtful gaze, they left the rented room they had stayed in for half a year. So Phong carried a TV and some electronics to a shop for a quick sale. The 30 yuan earned was enough for a luxurious breakfast. Steamed buns filled their stomachs. Then, in the surprised eyes of the landlady, they left and boarded the high-speed train to Xia City. On the train, Van Han held a book, while So Phong scrolled his phone searching for outdoor gear shops.
So Phong, what tools do you plan to bring?
Van Han clearly had no focus on reading.
Should we bring a lighter?
No need, a lighter would waste a slot. So Phong denied it once, then explained.
We can make fire. It is better to bring items that are hard to find outdoors. Since when can you make fire?
Van Han's face was full of doubt. Among all people, only she understood him best, for they were childhood sweethearts.
I learned last night watching videos online.
He offered a white lie.
All right then.
She looked into his dark eyes, thinking he had just stayed up late searching survival knowledge. In Xia, wear more clothes. So Phong advised sincerely.
Especially inner layers, wear 2 more. I know.
She replied shyly. Usually such things were never mentioned, but once said aloud, it felt embarrassing. Hopefully they won't be too strict. If even extra clothing is regulated, it will be troublesome. He worried. She too had stayed up late learning how to identify wild plants.
It is autumn now, in over a month it will be winter, I fear. He trailed off. Van Han quickly understood.
If snow fell in winter, survival difficulty would rise sharply. Seeing the atmosphere heavy, she asked quickly.
So what tools are best? A waterproof warm sleeping bag, an engineer shovel, and a big pot.
He speculated that the organizers, with such huge rewards, must have set a hell-level difficulty, so tents would not be allowed, since it was no vacation.
What about the other 3 items?
She pressed.
Not decided yet, maybe there are hidden requirements, we will decide at the gathering.
Tomorrow we depart, still time to choose.
He sighed. If he were the organizer, with such big rewards, just 1 knife would be enough.
I suspect traps inside. She also thought the organizers lacked goodwill.
Don't think too much, we will see.
He shook his head. He closed his eyes quietly, conserving strength for the trials ahead. Dear passengers, the train will soon arrive at Xia Central. Please prepare your luggage and disembark in order. The broadcast woke him. He smiled warmly, gently patted her cheek.
Wake up, we are here.
Drink some water to refresh, we arrive soon. He handed her the bottle and shouldered the bag. No more staying up late, don't stay up again. He took her hand and helped her up. Last night he had seen her writing notes until she fell asleep from exhaustion.
Naya.
She scrunched her nose playfully, held his sleeve and left the station. First go to the base, store things, then come out to buy gear. His plan was clear.
All right.
She seldom traveled far, except school contests, otherwise always at school or home.
Good then.
They took the subway, then 2 buses, arriving at Xia City Sports Center. It was fully sealed, crowds gathered outside.
So many people?
He was shocked, thousands inside and out.
Stay close to me.
He held her hand, leading through the crowd. She lowered her head to look at their joined hands. After more than 10 minutes, they reached the gate. Along the way, he shielded her from being pushed.
We are challengers.
He spoke softly.
ID cards.
The guard paused, especially seeing her innocent face, then said sternly,
Family is not allowed inside. Family?
He glanced at her delicate face, suppressing a smile. She is also a challenger.
Ah. The guard stiffened, checking their IDs. Van Han was 16. So Phong was 19. Chapter 7, The Cunning Program Team. Thank you, we should give it a try.
Suo Phong said gently.
Hey, where are your parents? Some papers need their signatures. The guard looked at the girl, thinking it was troublesome. We are orphans.
Van Han replied calmly, long used to such answers. The guard fell silent, checked their files, and saw it was true. He nodded helplessly.
Uncle, if we go in, can we come back out? We have not bought tools yet. Suo Phong took back his ID card. It is fine, tools are already prepared inside.
The guard hesitated, perhaps seeing how small they were, then added, bringing your own tools is forbidden, only those provided by the program team are allowed. Suo Phong silently confirmed, the team indeed spoke one thing and did another, truly cunning.
He politely said, Thank you, uncle. Go, be careful, if you cannot do it, just quit, it is no shame.
The guard spoke openly.
All right. Suo Phong led Van Han inside. Their entry shocked the crowd. The girl looked only 14 or 15 yet dared to join.
According to the rules, 16 years old is enough, maybe she just looks small.
So tiny yet daring, like a calf not fearing a tiger. Someone mocked. That little girl will not last the first day. Why was I not chosen? The first prize is 100 million.
Suo Phong and Van Han did not know their arrival stirred jealousy. Even if they did, they would not care.
Step, step, step.
They followed the signs into the hall, then staff led them to a room, saying rules would be announced when all gathered.
Click. The staff left. So what do we do now? Van Han frowned. All right. Van Han took out the notebook and reviewed survival notes from last night. At 7:30, staff knocked, leading them to the arena. Click clack. They walked through the corridor, seeing many others join. Tonight is the key. Suo Phong wanted to see what rules the team made. Wow, that girl is so small, so cute. A crisp female voice rang, making them turn.
It was a short-haired girl, about 20, eyes fixed on Van Han.
Louis Meng, shut up.
Beside her was a long-haired girl, clearly her twin.
Pay attention. Louis Zhu rolled her eyes, gave a stiff smile.
Suo Phong glanced at them, especially Louis Meng with a wronged look, very beautiful, one of the few he rated above 90, the rest depended on character.
Let us go. Suo Phong shook his head, led Van Han forward. The girl truly looked small and frail. Oof. Van Han pouted, glanced at them, thinking, so what if they are taller? I, Van Han, will grow tall someday. With a small grievance, she followed behind. Louis Zhu looked at their thin backs, tugged her sister's ear, teaching, what did I tell you before leaving? Speak less, yet you shouted at someone younger. But she really is small. Louis Meng muttered. You.
Louis Zhu gripped tighter, then sighed, short people often have strong pride, saying that aloud may cause trouble.
I am sorry.
Louis Meng pouted, looking like a spoiled child.
Do not use that trick. Louis Zhu said angrily, helpless with her twin. Sometimes honesty cuts deep. She glanced at the many watching eyes, pulled Louis Meng ahead. All right, move quickly. She vowed she must get into the top 3. Chapter 8, The beginning is a hell-level challenge. So Phong and Van Han followed the staff for about 5 minutes to the arena.
They soon noticed the live broadcast stage already set up, cameras everywhere.
Welcome, challengers.
Ha Min's voice rang.
People looked and saw him holding a microphone on a high stage. Today was the official opening. Though he had hosted countless shows, he was still nervous, perhaps because this was groundbreaking. Please present yourselves in the field. He directed.
NK Books.
The staff quickly adjusted cameras toward good-looking faces or strong candidates.
Even before Douyu Live started, 40 million viewers were waiting, screen filled with barrage.
Not started yet? It is 7:58. 2 minutes left, can't they open early? At least show us the floor. I envy them, why wasn't I picked? 100 million. If I was picked, even if I died, I would spend 1 year in the wild. Truly ruthless. Ha ha ha. When it went live, challengers appeared, barrage rushed faster. Wow, are these the luck kings of this year? Some look terrible.
Oh, a handsome guy appears.
A little lowly too. Really lowly? Joining too?
The camera showed So Phong and Van Han, comments exploded. Then Luai Thursday and Luai Mong, twin sisters, appeared, sparking wild discussion, female viewers dissatisfied, screen full of quarrels.
On site, challengers stood waiting for Hamin.
Today 100 groups have gathered, first I praise your courage.
He began, then grew serious.
This show is dangerous, sometimes even we cannot save you.
If you don't want to join, leave now.
Silence, no one left.
Good, then sign this paper.
He signaled staff to pass responsibility contracts.
So Phong read it, meaning was voluntary participation, self-responsibility, limited compensation if accident.
Van Han saw him sign, she also signed. In 10 minutes, all signed, lights on the stands lit, dispelling darkness.
Hamin smiled, pointed. For fairness, tools brought cannot enter the wild. How so? I spent 5,000 on gear, wasted?
I spent 20,000, heartbroken.
Lucky, I only bought a hoe.
Hearing complaints, So Phong and Van Han glanced, smiling.
Silence.
Hamin raised his voice, then coldly said.
Clothes are tools, shoes too. What? The crowd shocked, must they go naked?
Yes, clothes and shoes count as tools. If you choose them, no other tool allowed.
He explained. If not choosing clothes, boys may keep one pant, but upper body bare.
For girls, we prepared shorts for warmth, though still tough.
Barrage rejoiced, wishing girls without clothes. Ha ha, cruel show, be harsher, chase them away. 666, they know how to play. Girls, pick clothes, autumn is cold.
The rules shocked them, some thought to quit.
Survival is not a game.
Hamin shouted.
If unwilling, turn back.
So Phong shrugged, pulled Van Han away, drawing gazes.
Many looked with contempt, some relieved, glad someone quit first. TSK, beautiful ones are timid.
He is smart, with a lowly, how to survive.
Shameful, I'd never quit. Wasted spot, go home. Barrage brimmed with hostility, as if venting bitterness. Chapter 9, Contest for Tools.
Hamin glanced at the two thin figures, he did not value them at all. Indeed, So Phong and Van Han seemed too young, as if they were here for a vacation. Hamin looked at the boy and girl among the groups, his eyes showing displeasure, letting such youngsters face the danger.
This program was very popular, the rewards too great, those not chosen were surely upset. The first to leave would leave a deep impression, if people attack the youths, the impact would be severe. Join, we must join, later we each choose a jacket, shoes are unnecessary. Luai Thursday's eyes were firm. All right, I'll listen to you. Luai Mong clenched her fists, determined to fight. You go there and get 2 jackets, I'll go choose tools. Luai Thursday pointed to the right side of the hall, seeing groups ready to move. Okay. Luai Mong walked quickly to the right side. On stage, Hamin saw someone moving, glanced at the youths, his eyes reluctant, he was about to speak to ease their burden. But before he spoke, his eyes lit, lips curved, showing an approving smile. Ah! Van Han was startled, now looking around. It turned out So Phong led her into the hall aisle, making others think he would leave. Why? You think I would walk away?
So Phong smiled, gazing at the girl. Indeed, as they headed into the hall instead of the exit, many were stunned. From the look now, So Phong and Van Han were the first to reach the hall. On Douyu, the chat grew lively. When they turned into the hall, the barrage instantly lessened by 3 parts.
Interesting, so interesting. Where are the noisy ones? Look, they only went into the hall. Where are they? Faces slapped? That nasty boy, truly nasty.
Seeing only a few moved, Hamin added fuel. Besides basic clothes, each may take 3 items, but each type has only 20 pieces, 30 types total. He took out a paper, reading loudly: jackets, entrenching shovels, firestones, army knives, shoes, bug sprays, fishhooks, fishing lines, slingshots. As for tents or waterproof cloth, do not expect, the show prepared simple tools only. If everyone brought big tents, it would be camping, not survival. Those who came early had picked 1 or 2 items.
Like So Phong and Van Han, each now held 3. So Phong, only 1 jacket is enough? Van Han asked worriedly. Why not take 1 too? I don't want these shoes.
She had chosen 2 for him, warming her heart but uneasy.
Enough.
So Phong patted his chest, reassuring, my body is strong, without a jacket I can endure. Before he lacked confidence, but with the potion's effect, no need to worry. Survival for 365 days was 2 per team. If Van Han fell sick or hurt, winning money lost meaning.
Are you done choosing? Van Han was about to argue, when Ha Min interrupted. Not reconsider? No need, this is best.
So Phong replied with full confidence. A decisive youth.
NK Books.
Ha Min admired this decisiveness, while others hesitated. He had chosen firmly.
Rare among the young.
1 entrenching shovel, 1 jacket, 1 pair of waterproof boots, a sleeping bag, an iron pot, and a chopping axe. Ha Min was surprised. As host, he had studied, but never thought the boy would choose such. The boots and jacket were for the girl, he understood, but none for fire-making.
Yes, this is my ideal set.
So Phong had chosen since knowing the rules. A chopping axe was handier than a small knife, especially for wood outdoors.
Good, I wish you luck.
Ha Min said no more, moving to the next group.
So Phong, tomorrow you have only 1 pair of pants, what now? Van Han worried still. Right. You reminded me, I must choose a better one.
So Phong walked into the hall, only 1 left, of course he wanted a sturdy pair.
This.
Van Han bit her lip, stomping lightly, helpless with him. She glanced around, wanting to trade shoes for a jacket, but none remained. Moreover, others stared at the jacket in her hand, eyes glowing greedily, almost ready to snatch.
Chapter 10, The Girl Wants a Reason.
Of course it could be received early, but the boys had only 1 pair of long pants, the girls only a tank top and shorts. The organizers clearly had everything planned.
Just pick 3 XL ones.
Su Phong thought for a moment, then chose a pair of pants big enough for a 300-pound man. When he brought the pants back to Yun Han, many people were stunned. What kind of trick was this? Was he going to wear it as a skirt?
Su Phong?
Why did you pick such huge pants? Yun Han was shocked. Normally she was the one buying clothes, but she would never blindly choose such oversized ones. She felt that today she simply could not keep up with Su Feng's thinking.
I will tell you later.
Su Phong glanced around at the eavesdroppers, said no more, only gave the girl a reassuring look.
All right.
Yun Han pouted, forcing down her curiosity with worry. Time passed slowly. After half an hour everyone had chosen their tools. Good, everyone has chosen 3 tools, now register with the staff. Ha Ming held the microphone, signaling the staff forward. He looked over the crowd and continued. The organizers will give each of you a satellite phone. If danger comes or you want to leave, just press the rescue button and someone will pick you up. The staff began to record each person's tools, while selecting a few to display their personal info on the big screen. Louis Meng, 22 years old, archery enthusiast.
Declaration, everything to help my sister achieve a good rank. Such simple info made the audience wide-eyed. They thought there would be more drama. But once the big screen showed personal data, the atmosphere immediately heated up. Wow, so the little sister's name is Louis Meng, such a pretty name. Careful being a simp, you might end up with nothing. The chosen tools are fine, flint and bow, suitable for survival. Yun Han, 16 years old, big appetite. Tools, jacket, waterproof boots, iron pot. Declaration, I heard the wilderness has plenty of free food. The organizers were cunning. For show effect they did not reveal all data, only picked the easiest to spark heat. Yun Han at 16 was the best talking point, along with Louis Meng's looks. Yun Han little sister, really so young. How dare she join, maybe she cannot last a day. I think she will quit tomorrow. Lucky though, she gets to play outside for one day. Boys remember, tomorrow wear the uniform pants, only one set of underwear is allowed, staff will check early. Ha Ming kept a stern face, though his eyes showed a smile. Girls the same, only shorts and tank tops, underwear one set, anyone breaking rules will be eliminated. Besides these, no other items may be smuggled, that is all for today, return to your rooms. Things you brought can be stored with us, after leaving we will return them. As Ha Ming's words ended, the broadcast shut down, the challengers all went back. Su Feng returned to his room, only to meet Yun Han's dark eyes staring, lips pursed like a sulking kitten. Enough, staring at me won't make flowers grow. Su Feng pressed a hand to her cheek. Why? Yun Han brushed his hand away, pouting. Why waste two tools on me? I can handle hardship, the boots I don't need, better to exchange for flint or fishing hooks. She had grown up in an orphanage, poor children learn early to manage, not afraid of hardship. She also knew how to weigh gain and loss, if not for money she would have skipped to university long ago. Of course I want to know. Yun Han's bright eyes widened. Then I will tell you. Su Feng stepped forward, body close, Yun Han instinctively retreated. She grew wary, narrowing her eyes. Don't come so close, are you going to tease me again? The girl had been teased many times, any odd move made her alert. Closer is better to tell. Su Feng leaned in, lips twitching with a smile. No need to be so close to speak. Yun Han's eyes showed panic, seeing his mocking look, she grew doubtful. She stepped back again, heel caught the bed, she fell onto it in shock. Su Feng smirked, grabbing her ankle, cold and soft in his hand. Choosing boots was to protect your feet from scars, so you can wear pretty shoes later. His voice was deep and firm. After speaking, he tilted his head at her dazed look. What did you just say? I thought I heard you mention being young, what did you mean? No, nothing. Yun Han's face turned red, she pulled her foot away, dove into the blanket. Both hands covered her face as she screamed inside. Too embarrassing, I was thinking impure thoughts. The girl forgot all the questions she had wanted to ask. Chapter 11, The Vital Girl. After that the men and women were separated for inspection, staff carried a clipboard to check each person from inside out, even their clothes. Especially when it was the turn of So Feng and Van Han, their strange looks drew laughter. The girl wore a huge jacket, the long hem reached below her knees. Van Han followed So Feng's request, choosing the largest jacket, one meant for someone weighing 300 pounds. Do you want to change? I can help report upward, of course it may not work. The kind female staff asked gently. The girl's cute look easily won hearts, the staff could not resist offering help. No need to change, this is fine. Van Han lowered her head, fiddling with the jacket, thoughtful. She now understood why So Feng wanted her to choose the largest size. What about these pants? The staff held out the huge pants, how could anyone wear them, they could fit 3 girls inside. I will not wear them yet. Van Han stuffed the pants into her jacket, not letting anyone notice, this was a loophole in the show's rules. She admired So Feng, he had cleverly slipped through the program's cracks. All right. The staff sighed, nodding helplessly and leading her outside.
These pants must be worn for 1 year. So Phong muttered, lowering his head to put on the oversized pants, rolling the waist, tying the excess into a knot so they would not fall. He then squatted down, rolled the legs up to his ankles. Coming out of the changing room, he saw the staff trembling, quickly turning away, shoulders shaking hard.
Cough cough, finished checking? So Fong's face darkened as he coughed lightly. Yes, yes. The staff held back laughter, face red, nodding quickly, leading him to the assembly.
He feared looking further, otherwise he would burst into laughter, and with cameras around, these moments would be cut into bloopers on TV. He did not want embarrassment.
Step, step, step.
With no expression, So Phong walked into the gym. The wilderness survival show had started yesterday, now it was competition. He ignored the strange gazes. So Phong frowned, he knew who it was from the sound.
Sister, I like that skirt. Lu Weimeng's cheerful voice sounded.
So Fong's teeth ached, those were pants, pants.
Lu Weimeng, shut your mouth.
Lu Wei Thursday pressed her lips, covering her silly sister's mouth, or she herself would laugh.
Ha 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 ha. Some people could not resist laughing loudly. Mm.
Lu Weimeng struggled, finally pulling her sister's hand away, breathing heavily.
What did I tell you yesterday?
Lu Wei Thursday scolded with a stern face.
Step, step, step.
Lu Weimeng ran to So Phong, bowed under his surprised eyes, shouted, I am sorry, I should not have called your pants a skirt. Silence, complete silence.
No one knew whether to laugh or not. Laugh, and it was awkward. Not laugh, then still accept the pants as a skirt. It is fine.
So Phong patted the vital girl's head. After 2 meetings he knew she was not malicious, she was simply innocent. In today's world, innocence like hers was rare, as everyone had long been exposed to the internet and its tricks.
You forgave me?
Lu Weimeng suddenly straightened, her pure black eyes stared at him, excitedly saying, You are truly kind, much easier to talk to than my sister.
Let me tell you, my sister is so nagging.
So Fong's mouth twitched, he saw Lu Wei Thursday's face turn dark, too late to remind.
My sister is such a nagging elder, always wanting to control me.
Lu Weimeng shivered. Before she could continue, a blow landed on her head.
Clack! Ah, it hurts.
Lu Wei Thursday withdrew her hand from her sister's head, leaving the silly girl shrinking, turning away, pretending nothing happened.
Sorry, to make you laugh.
Lu Wei Thursday forced a stiff smile at So Phong. She was a girl who rarely smiled, and both times he met her, her smile was awkward.
Yet his own image was already funny enough, no matter what others thought. Chapter 12, once again relying on luck. Lu Wei Thursday, you are the one with a problem.
Lu Weimeng was about to sneer, but seeing her sister pause, she awkwardly shut her mouth.
I understand, it is fine. Su Phong quietly watched the twin sisters loving and fighting, finding it amusing. He understood Lu Wei Thursday's meaning, only Lu Weimeng was too simple. Su Phong.
A calm voice of Yun Han rose behind him.
You were too focused on staring at those girls.
Yun Han, expressionless, let her eyes sweep over the twins' figures, feeling a sense of defeat.
Cough cough. Su Phong felt a bit awkward, looked at the girl in an oversized jacket, and quickly changed the topic. This outfit suits you well. Yun Han gently exhaled, then saw Su Phong bare-chested, thinking silently. Are you cold? Do you want to get into the sleeping bag?
It was autumn, the weather had turned cold, some already wore coats.
No need. Su Phong laughed, as if he would crawl into the sleeping bag with the girl.
Seeing her frown, he added softly.
It is fine, the weather is not too cold yet.
Then if you feel cold, tell me, we can take turns wearing. Yun Han glanced at Su Feng's pants, her brow relaxing then knitting again. She had no time to adjust before hearing Ha Min's voice.
Welcome everyone, did you sleep well last night? Not really.
A few scattered voices replied.
Very good, it seems most slept well. Fish balls, 1 yuan each. Fish fins, 100 yuan each. Baby shark, 1,000 yuan each. Doyu, 10,000 yuan each.
Professional breeder, monthly card 100,000 yuan. Hamin gestured to staff, bringing forward a large chest. The ranking is not fixed. If you shine in the wild or get eliminated, positions will shift up and down. Anyone with sense knew being ahead was better. After all, early placement held weight. The staff held the chest before them, waiting for each to draw lots and recording results.
Yun Han, you draw.
Su Feng felt the girl's luck surpassed his. Even from 30 million registrants she had drawn them in, that was her merit.
All right.
Yun Han did not decline, stepped up and drew a slip, her face lighting with joy as she opened it.
Number 10. The staff whispered. Truly Yun Han. Su Feng praised. He.
Yun Han
NK
smiled.
books.
Number 10 indeed pleased her.
Number 3.
The staff called again, drawing glances.
Only number 3? I thought it would be number 1. Lu Weimeng pouted, clearly disappointed.
Su Feng and Yun Han exchanged looks, both sighing. Suddenly number 10 was less exciting.
Lu Weimeng, close your mouth.
Lu Wei Thursday pulled her sister away. Now was not the time to invite hatred. Over 10 minutes later, the drawing was done.
Hamin looked over and called. It is nearly 8, breakfast will not be provided. Please follow staff by groups to the transport. Nearly 8?
Su Feng lifted his head at the huge stadium screen. It was not even 7.
This show is stingy. Yun Han fumed. She had wanted to eat full before entering the wild to endure a day without food. Group 3, Lu Weimeng, Lu Wei Thursday. Group 4, Su Feng, Yun Han. Group 5, Sun Bing, Yang Chang.
These 5 groups follow the staff out.
Hamin read, eyes lingering on Su Feng and Yun Han.
Last night he had checked files, learning they were orphans, and understood why they came.
A transport helicopter appeared. Everyone, the helicopter will take you into the wild, good luck. The staff said and left. How many here had ever ridden one? Wow, a helicopter. Lu Weimeng hugged her bow, rushing first.
Lu Wei Thursday followed, one hand clutching instant noodles and pots, the other a military knife.
Let's go.
Su Feng carried a sleeping bag, axe, and shovel at his waist, leading the girl with pots onto the helicopter.
Sit down, we depart at once.
The staff urged.
All right. Understood. Chapter 13, also a bunch of pigs.
After everyone boarded the helicopter, its blades spun and lifted them into the sky, so Phong looked out the window and realized they were heading toward the vast sea.
This time our destination is an island. The flight takes about 1 hour. The staff confirmed So Fong's guess. So, will our landing sites be the same? Asked a man about 40 years old named Trin Bang Hui. No, each team lands at different locations, some close and some far. The nearest takes 1 day to reach, the farthest could take more than half a year. The staff answered briefly. So Fong quietly observed the young man beside Trin Bang Hui. His name was Lai Fong, but their exact relation was unknown, only that both had tan skin, clearly from long exposure to the sun. He then looked at another pair, obviously brothers, named Tru Loi and Tru Loi, around 30 years old. The last group was harder to figure out. A man named Tun Bin about 30 years old showed respect to the pale young man beside him. That was Duong Thuang, fair and soft, with an arrogant expression, his eyes fixed on the Lu sisters with obvious intent. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain about the cameras and drones. The staff continued. These drones are equipped with the latest technology. They will always track your movements. Each team has 3 drones. Switching between cameras is handled by the backstage crew. Livestream has a 5-second delay. If private issues occur, staff will switch to another view. If there are girls in the team, female staff will manage their dorms. When danger of exposure arises, we will immediately change the lens to avoid a ban. He raised a black wristband. This wristband controls the drones. It has only one function. When you want to go to the bathroom or take a bath, press the button on the band.
the drone will stop recording and go standby until you press again. The explanation made Lu Wai Thursday, Lu Wai Mong, and Van Han all sigh in relief. With 2 protective measures they felt safer.
So Phong nodded. This show was truly a heavy version. With so many safeguards, cheaters had no chance. Good, that is all for the explanation. Now it is almost 8 o'clock. I will start the live broadcast. The staff reminded. The words made everyone focus their attention.
So Phong turned to Van Han, saw the girl pulling her hood tightly to hide her face.
He frowned and asked, "What are you doing?" "No, nothing." Van Han replied awkwardly.
Van Han, except with a few familiar people, was always wary of strangers. Being together made her uneasy, restless, and unsure.
The staff opened his mouth, silently looking at the red blinking camera. Those words had surely been heard by the audience.
Many here also heard, and the camera was aimed directly at them. This was one of 20 live channels, with 10 people shown, later splitting into groups upon landing. Yesterday I already noticed, this young man is truly bad-hearted.
Wow! Too much, he even called us pigs? Pigs are so cute, we are just a herd of them. You are the undercover pig among us.
The live broadcast has just started, your words have already gone out.
Lu Wai Thursday whispered. What? So Phong froze, then looked blankly at the camera. Cough, cough.
He cleared his throat, then said seriously to Van Han, "Better not treat everyone like pigs, think of them as rabbits."
But the staff drinking water instantly spat it out. In his eyes were all participants animals? Ha ha ha. Interesting.
Lu Wai Mong seemed to find a soulmate, her eyes shone brightly at So Phong.
Do not fool around.
Lu Wai Thursday pressed her sister's lips, her face full of helplessness.
The other 3 groups looked at So Phong strangely. Was he really trying to offend the audience? Chapter 14, Open Strife and Secret Fights.
She noticed the strange looks from the people around, remembered the recent words, then glanced at So Phong's faint smile. She knew this boy well, that was clearly a sly grin. Van Han also guessed the reason. Last night someone browsed the web and saw many mocking them. Obviously So Phong had just cursed in public.
What, not okay? Or should we treat them as talking dogs?
So Phong's grin grew more malicious.
Alright, I am fine.
Van Han hurried to stop So Phong from saying more.
That is good. So Phong seemed still unsatisfied, then sat calmly.
The crowd twitched their lips. Your expression was too obvious, you still wanted to talk.
The
books. Online topic had already exploded, everything was drawn to So Phong.
Why do I feel he is insulting us?
No, you did not feel wrong, he is indeed insulting you, you big dog bear.
This brother is impressive. Do not drag me in, let the brave ones speak up.
Staff members in the backstage exchanged odd looks, this was not what they imagined. On the helicopter, there were also clever ones. Zhao Lei and Zhao Loi whispered for a while, then forced a smile. Everyone, being chosen from 30 million is fate. I am Zhao Lei, I hope to be friends. Zhao Lei, nearly 2 meters tall, stood up, his loud voice pressing on others. I am Zhao Loi, his younger brother.
Zhao Loi also stood up.
The brothers stood together, their eyes swept over the crowd, lingering on the Lu sisters.
Silence. No one answered, the atmosphere grew awkward.
Zhao Lei found no one cared, his smile stiffened, embarrassed. Cheng Banghui spoke, I was once a hunter, later a ranger, I want to know if you have a way to fight mosquitoes.
Well.
Zhao Loi was choked, even if he knew he would not say, that was helping rivals.
I have some experience.
Sun Bing looked at young Chang, then spoke, you can smear mud on bear skin, wild boars often do that. Yang Chang glanced at the Lu sisters, then said with admiration, Sun Bing was a special forces soldier, he knows many survival skills, you can ask him. Zhao Loi lost face, he snapped, we are going to an island, many land skills may not work.
Yes, like So Phong and the girl, maybe they cannot last one day.
Zhao Lei supported his brother, deliberately dragging So Phong down, his usual trick.
Oh.
So Phong's lips curved in a mocking smile, then who do you think can survive long?
Not sure.
Li Fong shouted, my master hunted for 10 years, stronger than you. Cheng Bang Hui heard it and smiled confidently, Li Fong has learned much from me, surviving in the wild is not a problem.
What are you trying to show? Yang Cheng scolded, it sounds like you survived on an island before.
The words silenced all, like a locked switch. No one spoke, for if they failed on the island, it was slapping their own face.
Sister, what are they doing?
Lu Wai-meng asked softly.
Just showing off. Lu Wai Thursday glanced at the camera.
She realized since staff reminded them, people began to compete to perform, but it was stiff, soon turning into arguments. Only one malicious guy was different. Lu Wai Thursday turned to see So Fong smiling, enjoying the drama.
So silly.
Lu Wai-meng muttered, her pure heart sensitive to feelings.
We just need to do well, once on the island, do not leave my side. Lu Wai Thursday warned. Okay.
Lu Wai-meng nodded. So Fong glanced at Lu Wai Thursday, he felt someone was plotting.
So Phong, what should we do when we reach the island? Van Han asked nervously. All right. Van Han nodded. Everyone, we are about to arrive, please get your things ready. A staff member announced. Chapter 15, The Peculiar Live Broadcast. Hello dear audience, I am Ha Min, an observer of the program Wild Survival 365 Days. Ha Min sat at the promotion desk, beside him were one man and two women. After introducing himself, he presented the person next to him, this is Vong Lam, an internationally renowned survival expert, who once lived alone in the wild for 3 months, also an observer of the show. Vong Lam was a middle-aged man about 35 or 36 years old, with a scar on his face and calloused hands resting on the table. Next, these two ladies, everyone surely knows. Ha Min smiled, turned to the two girls and raised his voice, this is the young diva of music, No Tin Noyet. Her album Star Moon broke world records, selling 30 million copies. Hello everyone, I am No Tin Noyet, one of the observers this time.
She was a mixed-blood beauty with golden hair, black eyes, and an oval oriental face, extremely beautiful. Her voice was lively and sweet, if there is a chance, I also want to join a survival challenge.
Good, there will be a chance.
Ha Min replied, then turned to the last girl with a respectful face, this is the national martial arts champion, the pride of us all.
Thank you Teacher Ha for your praise. Tay Vai Din nodded calmly. If No Tin Noyet was exotic beauty, then Tay Vai Din was the embodiment of Eastern grace and sharpness. Her black hair was tied into a ponytail, dressed in a white martial uniform, her black eyes sharp and intimidating. Cough cough.
Ha Min cleared his throat, together with the audience, we now enter the live challenge. This scene made the audience laugh and tease Ha Min. Ha ha ha, our female martial god Tay Vai Din is indeed straightforward, not many words.
This is the first time someone does not give Teacher Ha face. Vong Lam is very famous, especially internationally, he can rank among the top 10 survival experts. Quickly, the staff cut the camera to the challengers.
Ha Min was about to speak but was stunned by So Fong's words.
Just opening and he called them pigs?
And the director cut the shot like this, so malicious.
Cough cough cough, So Fong's way of comforting is really peculiar, useful for those afraid of socializing.
Ha Min quickly used his hosting skill to cover. Last night he had studied, most challengers wrote their personal info before departure.
Cough cough cough. Vong Lam choked on water. As long as we are not pigs, it is fine. No Tin Noyet laughed. Ha Min thought this man is truly insincere. He could not let the broadcast dull, so he continued, judging from So Fong's expression, he did not know the camera was on, even if he changed pig to rabbit, but is there such a rabbit with such a good voice as mine? His joke made the scene lively. Right, is there a rabbit with such a nice voice like mine? No Tin Noyet pouted cutely. Not long after, So Fong's voice sounded again, still not enough?
Then treat them as a talking bear dog. The staff maliciously enlarged his smile. Ha Min nearly spat blood. He did not want to mediate anymore. This man is outrageous, even said we are bear dogs. No Tin Noyet was dumbfounded. Tai Vai Din slightly smiled, thinking, wicked. Haha, too funny, today teacher howled out life. That silly look of Tin Noyet is also lovely. Von Lam's dark face is hilarious. Look, the martial goddess is smiling. Ha Min waited, but no more words from So Phong. He sighed with relief. He quickly shifted. Teacher Von Lam, do you think Tun Bin's method is useful? Useful. Mud on skin forms a protective layer, prevents sunburn and mosquitoes. Von Lam smiled. They are quarreling. No Tin Noyet frowned at the screen. Anyway, neither wants to lose. Ha Min nodded, then asked, which team will be eliminated first? Without hesitation, Von Lam answered. Ha Min continued, and you, Tin Noyet? I think it will be So Phong's team. She lowered her head to read the file. And Vai Din? That one called. Duong Thuang. Tai Vai Din answered calmly. Ah. Ha Min was surprised, but did not dare ask more, fearing her silence. The answer we will know later. Now, let us observe the next live broadcast. Ha Min managed the time. Chapter 16, Landing. From the helicopter window, one could see a large island and a smaller one, and the flight path headed toward the small one. Everyone, that is Shin Noyet Island, the place where you will live. The staff explained, we will land on that small island, then everyone will take motorboats ashore. Shin Noyet Island? Never heard of it. So Phong shook his head, noticing others looked just as confused. Clearly it was an uninhabited place. Buzz buzz buzz. The helicopter quickly descended, and as they carried their gear off, they saw many wooden houses and a dock with motorboats. Look, another helicopter is arriving. Li Phong shouted. Everyone, I will open an independent live broadcast for you. A staff member tapped on his laptop, and 15 drones rose into the sky. They were nearly silent, barely making a sound. These are the 3 drones following us. So Phong looked at the small objects flying 2 meters above. Like 3 little sparrows. Van Han murmured. Please follow me. The staff began distributing motorboats. So Phong and Van Han boarded one. Beside them sat the Lu twin sisters. Good luck. Lu Wai Mong waved. You too. So Phong responded with a smile. 5 motorboats set off one after another, heading to Shin Noyet Island. Seeing others veer away, So Phong muttered, I wonder if we will meet again on the island. So Phong, are you thinking of those flower sisters? Van Han softly asked. No, I am not, do not say nonsense. He denied, having no mood to worry about others, only himself. Humph. Van Han wrinkled her nose, then edged closer, finally pulling out an attack pants from her jacket. She handed it to him. Wear this, so your clothes will not get wet in the forest. The oversized jacket looked like a dress on her, with sleeves far too long. Do you already have a plan? She asked. Yes, I searched for jacket styles online, they were all this big. He nodded. You are really sly. She teased with a smile. The show rules never said it must fit. He shrugged, taking advantage of the loophole. And what about your pants? She whispered. Also oversized. He replied, gazing at the nearing island, we must survive outdoors for 1 year, there will be no spare clothes. Oh. She realized too, her face wrinkled. He leaned close to whisper, with that thing of yours, we will have fabric to use. Ah. Her face flushed red, head bowed shyly, hands clutching her hem. The live chat exploded since she handed him the pants, bullet comments flooding in. Are they blind? Van Han has no attack pants. Oh my. Smart thinking. How did So Phong think of this? Others did not. TSK, they mocked him before, now they are slapped.
That boy is scary, planning from the start. Ah, the little lowly is blushing. What did he mean about fabric? Making her shy? I am a girl, but I will not say it is for that time of month. So Phong looked at the shy girl, such a rare sight. Minutes later, the boat reached shore. He led her onto land and watched as it drifted away. Chapter 17, Choosing a Campsite. So Phong, what should we do now? Van Han's black eyes were filled with confusion. Entering the wild, they only saw trees, grass, and rocks, so what could they possibly eat? First, we need to find a place to build a shelter, then find a water source. So Phong said softly, narrowing his eyes as he scanned the surroundings. So where should we build the shelter? Van Han looked toward the shore, where many logs were thicker than a person. Let's move into the island. So Phong looked up at the distant sky, the blue heavens not yet showing signs of rain. Out at sea, storms could come suddenly, so he did not dare fully trust the current weather. Perhaps tens of kilometers away dark clouds had already gathered and would be blown to Huen Noyet Island. Your feet are bare, entering the island you may get hurt. Van Han lowered her head, seeing So Phong's bare feet. It's fine, I'll be careful. So Phong said casually, handing the sleeping bag to her, I'll head into the forest to change clothes, then call you over. She lifted her gaze toward the island, where a tall peak rose high, its summit hidden by mist, impossible to see how tall it was. Listening closely, she heard many strange sounds, making her shrink back in fear. The live broadcast had 3 cameras, one followed Van Han, the second followed So Phong, the third rose into the sky and captured the entire forest. The staff quickly switched to the third angle, showing the wild landscape in full. Wow, it feels so primal. Those strange cries of animals send chills down the spine. Can those 2 kids really endure? Don't quit on the first day. Crack! A branch snapped, startling Van Han. She turned quickly, only to see So Phong carrying a vine out. Come here quickly. He used his hatchet to split the vine into sections. So Phong, what are you doing? Van Han asked curiously. Put this pair of pants inside the sleeping bag. He handed her the long pants, then wrapped the vine around his waist to form a simple belt. Why are you cutting the pant legs? Van Han asked as she stuffed the pants, seeing him chopping. So Phong was about 1.77 meters, later he might grow to 1.80 meters, but now the pant legs were too long for him. These can be made into waterproof hats. He quickly cut the fabric, tied one end with a vine, and shaped it into a pointed cap. He gave one to Van Han. The forest is damp, and caterpillars may drop from above. I already have a hood. She tugged at her jacket hood. But in the forest, dangers lurked everywhere, one must be vigilant. Wearing a hood could feel stifling, friction with the hair would make noise, blocking hearing, leaving only vision. Give me the sleeping bag. He tied it into a bundle with vines and carried it on his back. With a spade in one hand and a hatchet in the other, he led Van Han into the forest. They moved slowly among tall trees, vines growing thickly. With no path, So Phong had to clear the way, his eyes sharp. Huff, huff. He breathed, glancing back at the girl hugging the iron pot, and chuckled, Van Han, are you tired? Is the forest as you imagined? She wiped sweat from her brow, panting, why is it all trees here, not even a path? Indeed, the vegetation was dense. Humph, don't call me stupid. She pouted, raising her fist in mock threat. Licking her dry lips, she asked, where will we build the shelter? Is this spot okay? No, look at this tree. He walked to a large trunk and pointed, do you see something strange? The lower bark is darker than above. Her survival knowledge was only hastily learned, she barely knew the basics. Chapter 18, Searching for Water. So Phong half knelt, touched the tree bark, got some gray-white powder on his finger, then showed it to the girl and said, this is sea salt left after the tide receded and the seawater evaporated. Ah? You mean the sea once reached here? Van Han was startled, her bright eyes scanned the lush greenery, then suddenly realized, I get it, it is the tide.
If not for the tide, camping near the sea would be perfect. They could even look for food in the ocean.
So Phong, give me the sleeping bag. Van Han tried to take the bag off his back.
No need, carrying it helps block the mosquitoes.
So Phong smiled.
The girl was weak, had been eating little, even skipped breakfast today. He, however, still had the effect of the strengthening potion. After some rest the soreness faded.
The forest path was difficult, slippery, and the branches could easily poke the eyes. Let me hold the sleeping bag, I will help keep mosquitoes away. Van Han wanted to share the burden. Just mind the road, the bag is not heavy.
So Phong cut a blocking branch, feeling the girl's stubbornness somewhat heartwarming.
The girl pouted softly, do you think I cannot carry it?
If he turned back, he would surely laugh. In fact, the viewers also laughed at her actions.
Ah, this little lowly just wants to help. Yes, I also think they truly care for each other. Am I the only one who feels So Phong knows much about survival? Even the tide levels he understands.
Maybe he just happens to know this field well.
The two rose from rank 80 to rank 8, receiving thousands of gifts.
The live viewers reached over 8 million, compared to 30 million on the helicopter stream, yet most still followed So Phong. Meanwhile, the Lu sisters reached over 12 million, twin sisters were always attractive.
Time passed slowly, half an hour went by. Crack! So Phong cut a branch, found it damp.
He both cleared the path and gathered tinder, since making fire required good material.
Slap! Slap!
Van Han saw a mosquito hovering near his back, quickly tried to smack it, missing once then striking again.
She looked with a pot on her head and the lid tucked under her arm, making him ask while holding back laughter, what kind of outfit is this? I am helping chase mosquitoes.
Van Han swung a branch, her face full of sweat. Mosquitoes in the wild were overwhelming, especially in damp places where they thrived. Watch the path. So Phong saw her dry lips, thinking they must find water soon.
Excessive sweating could cause dizziness and weakness. So Phong, the sea tide cannot reach this far.
Van Han wiped her forehead, scanning the trees, seeing no trace of salt water. Yes, we should search for a source nearby. So Phong decided to prioritize drinking water. And if they built a shelter by the source, it would be convenient, killing two birds with one stone.
All right.
Van Han's black eyes searched for edible wild greens.
Stay here? I will go look around.
So Phong saw her panting heavily.
No, I do not want to.
Van Han shook her head, pouting pitifully like a kitten fearing abandonment.
All right, come along. So Phong sighed, indeed uneasy leaving her alone, the island might hide wild beasts. Chapter 19, A Bear.
To see the terrain clearly one must stand high, but the thought of climbing was quickly denied by So Phong, wasting strength now was unwise. They were in a low area, the rising tide showed their campsite was poorly chosen. So Phong used the army shovel to flatten a patch of land, then crouched and pressed his ear to the ground.
This.
Yun Han's eyes widened slightly, she looked at So Phong's muddy face and felt a sudden pang of sorrow.
No sound of water.
So Phong stood up, wiping mud from his face.
Don't move. Yun Han hurried, stood on tiptoe and gently wiped the mud from his cheek. It's fine, we can wash once we find water. So Phong laughed, seeing her disappointment. Yun Han looked at his dirty face like a flower cat, her lips twitched then she brightened, asking, shall we head that way now?
From the helicopter I saw the north side of the island had more chance of water.
So Phong pointed north.
They had landed on the east side.
Then let's go. Yun Han glanced at the northern forest, alone she could not even tell direction. Follow me.
So Phong led the dazed girl northward, the ground rose higher as they went. They skirted the dense woods, walking and resting for half an hour.
So Phong, there are animal tracks here.
Yun Han pointed at a paw print like a plum blossom.
Oh.
So Phong came over, compared with his knowledge and said, it's a fox track, about 2 days old.
You can tell that?
Yun Han looked at him, surprised. He seemed to know a lot about survival, even fox tracks.
Did you forget?
Old Wang at the orphanage gate was a hunter, I learned from him. So Phong said lightly, while in his heart he apologized, Old Wang, forgive me for using your name, once I win I will burn offerings, even 100 new shotguns.
Weren't you afraid of Old Wang?
Yun Han was puzzled. She could not question a dead man.
Where there are fox tracks, water is near. So Phong studied the direction and said, let's follow them. Ah. The path here is clearer.
Trees were less dense.
Stop.
So Phong halted, motioned her to stop, eyes fixed on droppings ahead.
What is it?
Yun Han whispered, peeking past his arm.
Stay here, I'll check.
He stepped forward carefully. It was bear dung and urine, no more than half an hour old. The bear was still close.
What is it?
Yun Han stepped up, worried.
A bear was here, less than half an hour ago.
His voice was heavy, meeting it now would be deadly. Even special forces without guns could only struggle before being eaten.
What do we do now? Yun Han panicked, her voice trembling, let's leave at once.
Just hearing of the bear, she felt watched by unseen eyes. So Phong patted her back, the bear went to the shore, we go inland.
All right. She nodded quickly. Yun Han, what if we kill it? In winter we would have bear fur coats. He grinned. Don't be reckless. She glared. I was only joking. So Phong pressed his lips, man survives by wit.
Hunting a bear must wait, first they needed water.
Chapter 20, The Fearless Ignorance.
I really did not expect that after only 2 hours, someone would choose to quit. Hamin looked at the satellite phone screen as he spoke. Those two are ordinary people with no wilderness survival skills, quitting is only natural.
Vong Lam replied indifferently.
As an internationally known survival expert, Vong Lam had joined shows similar to Wilderness Survival 365 Days, though none lasted that long, the longest being 3 months. Even those with some outdoor experience often quit on the first day, it is a matter of willpower.
Yes, such things happen.
Vong Lam folded his hands and calmly said, I once joined a survival show where an experienced group found bear droppings and urine in the forest, they got so scared they quit.
He glanced at No Tin Noyet listening intently and added with a playful tone, another group, just like those who left early, carried only a few tools and could not adapt to the wild, they quit within a day.
Thank you for sharing, Teacher Vong. Hamin bowed slightly, then sincerely addressed the viewers, leaving early is not shameful, please understand. Hamin held the microphone and said steadily, now, we switch to the next live feed. The screen changed, showing 2 familiar figures, the mischievous boy and the timid girl. Hamin froze for a moment, then quickly recovered, let us watch the live feed of So Phong and Van Han.
Wow, they found bear droppings and urine.
No Tin Noyet exclaimed.
Teacher Vong, do you think they will quit? Hamin asked. The drone camera zoomed in on the bear droppings and urine, showing every detail. So Phong's analysis is correct, those are fresh bear signs. Vong Lam was surprised, only skilled hunters could notice that. Ah, so Phong was right? No Tin Noyet asked.
Yes. Vong Lam nodded, hearing So Phong say he wanted to kill a bear. He shook his head and said, they are like newborn calves unafraid of tigers, the ignorant fear nothing, they do not know how dangerous bears are, that is why they remain calm.
Are bears really that dangerous?
Hamin asked with a frown. Yes, very dangerous, if I saw one I would run at once. Vong Lam said seriously, if they knew how terrifying bears are, they would be worried and frightened, perhaps unable to last long.
He turned to Te Vai Din and asked, Vai Din, if you met a bear in the wild, what would you do?
Leave.
Te Vai Din replied calmly. So bears are even scarier than we thought. Hamin sighed.
Meanwhile, So Phong and Van Han were still searching for water, walking for more than 10 minutes.
So Phong, listen.
Van Han tugged at his sleeve, tilting her head to hear carefully.
So Phong tightened his grip on the axe and looked around alertly. Seeing nothing unusual, he asked, "What did you hear?"
Van Han suddenly became excited, pointing north. "It sounds like water flowing.
Let's go check it out."
So Phong trusted her keen hearing. He took the axe and led the way.
Crack, crack.
Each chop cleared the vines, leading Van Han for about 6 minutes. Then they saw a small waterfall, its flow like a basin pouring.
"Water, we found water." Van Han cheered, quickly removing the iron pot from her head, ready to scoop. "Wait, do not rush." So Phong stopped her, saying seriously, "We must check the surroundings first, there may be beasts hiding." "All right." Van Han hid behind him. Crack, crack.
So Phong cut a long stick of 2 meters, trimmed off branches, then used it to strike the nearby bushes.
Books. Bang, bang.
In the wild, caution is never enough. One careless moment could mean death. Danger often comes when least expected.
Follow me.
So Phong led her to the pool beneath the falls. It was just over 2 meters wide, the water clear. He poked into it with the stick, finding no hidden snakes, then finally relaxed.